So as I was saying, you need to isolate things that need specific attention. When you're learning a piece of music or you're trying to take it to another level of performance or interpretation, you're focusing on nuances. And it's those nuances that make all the difference. And in business, it's also all about the nuances. We have to pull things apart. We have to break it down. And it's that breaking down process that's the key. That's where the magic happens, if as it were. That is the place where you start to see a shift, you start to see a change. So I want to encourage you today, in the event that you're working on something and you're not seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, you're not seeing it come together as quickly as you would like, and you're like, when is this going to happen? When is this going to gel and really take shape? You have to trust the process. And we hear that expression a lot, and you're like, what process? What is the process? Why should I trust the process? Why? Because first of all, the process is the method by which you need to do something to achieve a very specific goal. And you have to trust and believe that by doing those things will allow you to achieve your goal. So that's what the process is. And the trusting is knowing that it will work. It has worked for others. It will work for you. But you have to follow the steps. You have to break it down. You have to be willing to experience the discomfort of that stage of just learning and getting used to and trying something differently and not being intimidated. Sometimes I look at my music and I get intimidated. I'm like, oh my God, how am I gonna play this thing? But if I just look at it like this, if I just look at all the notes at one big swapping swoop, I'm like, ah. But when I take it one note at a time and you break it down one at a time, and then you go from there, and one thing leads to the next, and it's a gradual breaking down. Sometimes you have to play the one bar of music for an hour just to get it right, just to do it right. And then when you get that one, the next one gets a little easier, and the other one gets a little easier. But you have to be willing to go through it. Like there's this one bar, when I looked at it, I'm like, ah. And then I'm like, okay, just take it slowly, okay? So, okay, and I'm like, oh, those notes are all jumbled up. So take it even slower. Okay, you take it even slower, and then if it needs to go slower, take it slower still. And I think what people don't want to do is they don't want to go slower. They just want to play it fast. They just want to get to how it sounds fast and just go, fast. Just play it fast, and then it gets jumbled up. Okay. But you gotta break it down. Otherwise, each note needs its time. Each note needs its place. You can't just gloss over it and like, oh, whatever. You gotta go back over it and clean it up. So, okay, go back and clean it up. And then once you get it clean, then you can go a little faster, and then you can go a little faster. But don't just rush into it and get discouraged because you can't play it all at once and you're like, oh, I'll never be able to do it. Yes, you can do it. You've got to break it down. You've got to break it down. Go slower in music as in business. Don't be afraid to go slower. We all want to go fast, and we all want to do it at the normal or the regular speed. But that's not how this thing works. You have to go very slowly sometimes in order to gain that momentum and pick up the speed and go at the sweet speed you want. And then you're hitting warp speed from there. But you've got to take your time, build that foundation. Don't rush the basics. Don't rush the basics. Take your time with the basics. The basics lay the foundation for everything. Once you have your foundation solid, then the sky's the limit. Go build your skyscraper. I hope this helps somebody.